All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this one we're going to take a look at the transform node. Now the transform node allows for you to move, rotate, or scale your object as a whole. It doesn't allow for you to move, rotate, or scale the individual points of your object, but rather to do that with the object as a whole. There are several different ways to add nodes here. We could hit Shift-A, we could search for the node, or what we could do, which is really cool, if we left click and drag an input or an output socket, for example here, you could left click and drag and let go, and you could automatically search for or add any node, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. But for this course, especially since we're going over the nodes for the first time, I'm mainly going to hit Shift-A and search for it in the menu right here so that you know where it is in the menu. And then if we reuse that same node, we'll probably just search for it or left click and drag. But here for the transform node, let's go ahead and hit Shift-A, go down to geometry and select transform, and let's just drop it in right there. As you can see, with this one, we have a geometry input, geometry output, and we have three vector inputs right here for the translate, or the moving, the rotation, and the scaling. Now you can see that these are a purple-blue color, and that's for vectors. And you can see that here a vector indicates vector, coordinate, and normal information. So here, a vector, if we go down, I have more of a detailed explanation on vector. A vector is a line segment in 3D space going from a point A to point B. And vectors have a length and direction, and this is represented with three numbers representing X, Y, and Z. So to show you a more visual representation and explanation of a vector, let me go ahead and hide this sphere. I'm going to hit Shift-A. I'm going to add a cube right here. Now with this cube, I'm going to hit delete on the numpad to zoom in and 1 to go into front view. You can see that here in the center right here, this coordinate is 0, 0, 0, because it's 0 on the X, 0 on the Y, and 0 on the Z. It's in the center. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and create a vector. Again, a vector is a line segment with a point A and point B. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and left click and draw a vector to right here, for example. And so now you can see that we have this vector. So again, we have point A right here and point B right here. And let me draw a little dot. So right here, this vector is going to be represented with X, Y, and Z coordinates. Because again, it's going from point A to point B, and then we need to get the coordinate of right here, the point B. So if we look at this, let me hit 7 to go into top view. We can see that on the X, it's a value of 1 because again, here is 0 and all the way here is 1. So X would be a value of 1. If we look on the Y, you can see that on the Y, it is 0 because again, the Y is going this way. From here to here, it's a value of 1. Here to here, it's a value of -1 on the Y. And in the center right here, it's 0. And since it's right here, it's not going anywhere on the Y, not in a positive direction or negative. So the Y is 0. And the Z, if we look at the Z, we can see that the Z, if I just hit 1 to go into front view, you can see that once again, right here is 0, and going up on the Z this way, it will be a +1 here, and going the other way will be -1. So we can see that on the Z, it is 1 as well, because it's all the way at the top. So on Z, it's 1. So the coordinate system for this vector is 1 on the X, 0 on the Y, and 1 on the Z. And so this vector is represented by this X, Y, and Z coordinate system right here. So if we take a look at this, let's go back to our select box. If I select the cube, and again, this is based on the origin, if I select the cube and I move it to this coordinate system of 1 on the X, 0 on the Y, and 1 on the Z, the origin point will now be over here. So if I hit G, X, 1, and then G, Y, 0, which again, I don't have to, but I'm just putting that in just so you see that it doesn't go anywhere. and then GZ1, you can see that now the origin point is at this coordinate system of the vector. Very cool. So if I go ahead and delete the cube, hit Alt-H to unhide our sphere. Now our sphere might not show up, and that is because, let's select it in the outline. Well, actually it's our cube. Right here, we need to also connect this to the group output. It can disappear randomly sometimes, so you could just connect it to the group output and it should come back. So here, for example, if we go to the transform, and let me move this up a little bit, and right here, these are the same. This is the X location, Y location, X rotation, Y rotation, and the scaling for each of these. But on the translation or the movement, if I type in 1 for the X, 0 for the Y, which it already is, and 1 for the Z, you can see that the origin of this sphere is at the point B of this vector. So again, these points right here, these blue or purple points represent vectors. And again, vectors are line segments that represent a point in space that is represented with the X, Y, and Z coordinate. So that's what these are doing right here. So with these, we could go ahead and move it. Let me move my angle a little bit. We can move it on the X, Y, and Z axis, and we could rotate it, as you can see right there, and we could scale it, which is pretty freaking awesome. Very, very cool. Now, obviously, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to reset these. Now, a quick way to reset this and change all 3 of the numbers at the same time, I could left click and drag and select all of these, and then just type in 0, and it will put 0 for all of these. Rotation, I could put in 0 right here, and the scale, we want to put this to 1. You could also left click and drag down and then move to the left or the right to influence all of these by sliding, which is pretty cool. Let me set that back to 0. 0 right there. All right, very cool. So since we're building a snowman, what we want to do is we want to have a sphere at the bottom and a sphere at the top, obviously. So to do that, we're going to select this UV sphere, and we're going to hit Shift-D, and I'm going to bring this one down and have this one over here. So now if I Control-Shift left click this one, we have a sphere there and a sphere there. Sphere there, a sphere there, a sphere everywhere. Now this isn't doing much. So on this one, let's Control-Shift left click the transform node, and let's bring the translate or the moving on the Z. I'm going to hold down Shift and just bring this up to right about here. So now if I Control-Shift left click this UV sphere, I have that, and Control-Shift left click the transform node, I have that one there. So now what we need to do is we need to be able to join both of these geometries together so that they are one and that we see both of them. And that's the next lesson. In the next one, we'll take a look at the join geometry node. So I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now. Au revoir. Make sure to save.